Hello everyone, you have come to Tata Comic Preview channel. Let read together. Have fun. This is an art collage novel video. I made this series so you guys can experience the story faster. The video will focus on the character's psychology, the images are for illustration purposes only. The commanding tone entered the ears of Su Sheng, who was outside the Great Hall. He fought back his surging blood essence as he lay on the ground with a pained expression on his face. This palm strike would render him motionless for a long time. The difference in the palm strike's strength was too great. He was completely powerless. He endured the pain and rose to his feet with great difficulty and entered the Evil Sky Pavilion's great hall. Lu Good did not look at Su Sheng. Faced with this situation, Su Sheng had no choice but to kneel toward Conk. Upon seeing this, Conk seemed flustered as she moved to the side and hid behind Mingxirin to avoid Su Sheng's bow. Mingxirin smiled and said, "Oh, so you're capable of feeling frightened as well, little ancestor?" "I'm not frightened," Conk said. If it were Ninth Junior's sister, she would have given him a kick. "You're slightly lacking in bravery," Mingxirin said. In terms of tormenting others, Conk and little Yuan were at the same level. However, Conk seemed less bold compared to little Yuan. Before Conk could reply, Zhou waved his hand and said, "This is the Evil Sky Pavilion, not the palace. You'd do well not to bring the ways of the palace here." Lu Gun nodded in agreement and said, "Su Sheng, thank Brother Ji." Su Sheng shifted to face Zhou and said, "Thank you for holding back, Senior Ji." Mingxirin rolled his eyes and said, "If you had listened to me, it wouldn't have come to this." "You're right, Mr. Fourth." Su Sheng's face flushed red. As the saying went, consider the master before hitting the dog. Naturally, that saying did not apply to Zhou. Not only did he not consider Lu Gu when he taught Su Sheng a lesson, but he even ridiculed Lu Gu. "Brother Ji, why are you so angry?" Lu Gu asked. "I don't have time for you." Zhou looked at Conk and beckoned her over. Conk obediently walked to Zhou's side. Zhou inspected her pulse and widened his eyes. "Sense condensing realm? Master, am I in the sense condensing realm?" Although it was slightly unbelievable, the truth was right there before his eyes. Zhou nodded and said, "That's right, you're already in the sense condensing realm." Conk seemed delighted. Zhou continued to ask, "But, who taught you to control qi with sound?" Mingxirin said, "Master, I didn't teach her that." It could be old eighth. Nothing else mattered apart from shifting the blame away from himself. "Master, I learned it myself," Conk replied immediately. Su Sheng. Gui ran. Su Sheng had initially thought Conk was an elite who concealed her aura. There was no longer any doubt that she was just a beginner. To think, he, a great 8-leaf cultivator, had insisted on sparring with her. The more he thought about it, the more ashamed he felt. Zhou reminded her, "Don't rush when you cultivate. You should focus on your cultivation for now. Controlling qi with sound can come later." "I understand, Master," Conk replied. Then, Zhou looked at three guests again before his eyes finally settled on Lu Gu. "Old Fourth, bring Conk out of the hall." "Understood." Mingxirin led Conk out of the great hall. Su Sheng and Guiran exchanged a look. They wondered if they should leave the great hall as well despite the fact that they were great generals of the Imperial Guard. Lu Gu said, "Stay outside." "Understood." Guiran stood up and gestured at the Imperial bodyguards. The boxes were left at the sides as they filed out of the great hall. Soon after, Zhou and Lu Gu were the only ones left alone in the great hall. "Let's hear it. Why did you come?" Zhou asked. Lu Gu heaved a long sigh before he said, "Time is a cruel thing. Centuries have passed in just a blink of an eye. I came because there's something I'd like to personally ask you." Zhou remained silent. Lu Gu asked without beating around the bush, "Did you truly attain the 9-leaf stage, Brother Ji?" His gaze was searching as he looked at Zhou after asking the question. The great hall was silent. After a moment, Zhou replied with a question, why would you ask that? Do you remember that mysterious elite, Brother G? Zhou said. If you're not going to get to the point, you can leave. I don't have time to waste on you, Zhou said before he rose to his feet. The system's upgrade would only be completed in 2 months. Zhou had used some of his extraordinary on the palm strike earlier. He needed time to recover and did not have the luxury of chatting with this person. Zhou was slightly surprised. He said at once, the mysterious elite rode in a coffin from the northern borders, crossing the lands of the other tribes and Great Yen. Zhou remembered the Rolian, Lanny, who brought a red coffin to the evil sky pavilion. He stopped moving and placed his hand on his back as he said, get to the point. The reason why Great Yan's imperial family remains standing to this day is due to the mysterious elite's help. He had stressed that we're not to attempt the 9-leaf stage. Otherwise, there would be unthinkable consequences. Zhou was intrigued. He looked at Zhou and asked, where's this person now? Zhou shook his head and said, he stayed in the divine capital once. Then, he left some things there before he left. The imperial family has been searching for him all these years. Alas, we've never heard from him again. You seem to believe in this mysterious elite, Zhou said. I never doubted him from the beginning until the end, Zhou replied, the heavens have set this taboo for us humans, and there must be a reason behind this. We'll have to pay the price if we're to violate the taboo. We should cultivate according to the will of the heavens. Isn't 1,000 years enough to satiate the greed of men? I don't think so, Zhou said. What's your thought on this, Brother G? I'd like to hear it. According to you, cultivators should be content with 1,000 years. However, a mortal is considered to have lived a long life if he or she lived to 100 years old. It has never been fair between cultivators and mortals. Doesn't this mean cultivators have violated the mortals' taboo? Zhou said, moreover, to cultivate is already going against heaven's will. Cultivating is going against the will of the heavens? Zhou asked. That's only a view held by the minorities. The Confucian school fears the command of the heavens and merely cultivates to better themselves. The Buddhist sects fear karma that could not be avoided. The Taoist sects wish for longevity and to exist alongside the heavens and the earth. Which of these isn't going against the will of the heavens? Zhou asked. Zhou was at a loss for words. He had thought about this before. Over the long course of history, many cultivators had their own views about cultivation. There were countless views vying for dominance from the Confucian, Buddhist, and Taoist sects, but the end goal remained the same. 3 paths were constantly striving to break through from the original restrictions. Zhou said, it's only a difference in opinions. You have your own view, Brother G, and I have mine. Zhou stroked his beard and asked, so, are you going to force your views on me? Zhou was once again at a loss for words. He studied Zhou for a moment before he asked, when did you grow so eloquent, Brother G? Upon hearing this, Zhou slowly rose to his feet and said with an indifferent expression on his face, it's time for you to leave. Zhou continued to say, I'm only here to confirm if you're at the 9-leaf stage, Brother G. If you are, please consider the greater picture and conceal your cultivation base, Brother G. Zhou turned around and struck with his palm. A shining golden palm seal sailed toward Zhou. Zhou crossed his arms and released a burst of primal chi from his old body to block the palm seal. There's much control in this palm seal. Your cultivation base has indeed improved greatly, Brother G. Zhou had struck with the power corresponding to his cultivation base that was in the 2-leaf nascent divinity realm. Therefore, it was not surprising that Zhou was able to block the attack. Undeterred, Zhou continued to say, if anyone reaches the 9-leaf stage, there will surely be a great disaster. Please be careful, Brother G. Zhou found Lu Ji's amusing. What disaster? Will the heavens part and the ground sink? Or will the waters of the lakes, rivers, and seas drown the lands? I don't know what disasters lie beyond as well, but I believe in the mysterious elite. Luga replied, there are many things that can't be explained, but time will tell. Please believe me in regard to this matter, Brother G. Zhou recalled the coffin. He also thought about the diary-like entries in the secret tome that came along with the coffin. The formation veins on the coffin and the armor the crown prince, Lu Ji, gave Lin Xan were proof of the mysterious elite's existence. Unfortunately, he was not a real nine-leaf cultivator and could not verify that. The shackles of heaven and earth were the great limit of their lifespans. Everything was numbered. After pondering on this for a moment, Lu Zhou said, the cultivation world will have the answer in 2 months. To be honest, he did not know how long it would take for someone to reach the 9-leaf stage after severing their lotuses. He had casually come up with this answer after taking the cooldown period of the system into consideration. Who could say anything about his answer after the cooldown period was up? 2 months? The lotus severing era has arrived. I won't be the only 9-leaf cultivator, Lu Zhou said. Lu Ge was taken aback by Lu Zhou's words. If severing one's lotus would help one to attain the 9-leaf stage, nobody would be able to stop it. Even his son, Lu Gu, was attempting to attain the 9-leaf stage as well. All things considered, what use was there for him to pester the evil sky pavilion about this? With that thought in mind, Lu Gu said, before I came up the mountain, your disciple told me that you're going to cultivate in seclusion for 5 months. Now that 3 months have passed, there are 2 months left. I wonder if it'll be okay for me to visit the evil sky pavilion again in 2 months. An idea appeared in Lu Zhou's mind when he heard Lu Ji's words. Although that's in line with what I want, why should I dance to your tune? You're nothing but an emperor who's past his prime. Aren't you going to plead for your son now that you're here? As soon as Lu Zhou saw Lu Ge, he had assumed that Lu Ge had come to plead on behalf of Lu Gu. After all, the Nether Sect was like the sun at high noon at this moment. The divine capital and the imperial city were both threatened. Lu Ge shook his head. I've retired, and I won't meddle with the empire's affairs. Lu Gu is my son while Zhenghai is your first disciple. Just as well. The old will face the old, and will let the young ones face each other. Lu Zhou glanced at the boxes left by the imperial bodyguards that were sitting behind Lu Ji's feet. Although the veins on the boxes were not clear, he could still tell they were the same as the ones on the armor. His eyes brightened. Just as well. I'll see you in 2 months. In other words, he wanted Lu Ge to bring the boxes as well. The 9-leaf cultivator who was in the coffin and the diary that was filled with advice had piqued Lu Zhou's curiosity. He did not know where his memory crystal was, and since the crystal contained his memories about the 9-leaf stage, who knew if Ji Tiandao had dealings with the mysterious elite in the past? How could he let such a clue slip past his fingers? Unfortunately, the 4 elders of the evil sky pavilion had severed their lotuses and were recultivating. Hence, they could not defeat Su Shang and Guiran. Lu Zhou was also meditating on the earth scroll. Before he could unlock the next power, his meditation did not seem to add to the human scroll's extraordinary power. The other functions of the system were practically locked. All right. I hope you'll keep this promise, Brother Ji, Lu Ge replied. Lu Zhou said, Lu Ge, I'll give you a piece of advice. What is it, Brother Ji? Don't think too highly of yourself. After saying this, Lu Zhou turned around and said loudly, see our guests out. After that, Ming Shirin escorted the trio down the mountain. He said, I told you that my master was cultivating in seclusion and this would be a waste of time. Lu Ge, Su Shang, Guiran, and several imperial bodyguards exited the barrier. It's not a complete waste. I've already achieved my goal of meeting your master and telling him about my thoughts, Lu Ge said. Ming Shirin looked at Lu Ge, speechless. He's great at consoling himself. He did not respond to Lu Ge and flew back to the evil sky pavilion. Once Ming Shirin was out of sight, Su Sheng spat out a mouthful of blood. Sweat broke out on his face. Lu Ge frowned slightly, 9-leaf? Su Sheng tapped his meridian points and said, I can't be sure, but that abandoned wisdom could have destroyed the world. Guiran asked in confusion, why do you suspect he's not a 9-leaf cultivator, your majesty? The rumors being spread in the cultivation world said that the evil Sky Pavilion's Patriarch, Ji Tiandao, was a 9-leaf cultivator. Lu Ge was the only one who did not believe this. With his hands on his back, Lu Ge said, I said the 9-leaf stage will bring forth disaster. Since there's no disaster as of now, I don't think anyone has attained the 9-leaf stage. A fake 9-leaf cultivator? Su Sheng appeared frightened. But his great limit is already up, and he's still alive. How can we explain that? Guiran said, His Majesty means to say that old villain Ji is somewhere between the 8-leaf and 9-leaf stage, is that correct? Lu Gu smiled meaningfully. I'll wait for 2 months. Whether he's real or not, I'll make it clear to the world. Your Majesty, are you going to fight a 9-leaf cultivator? Lu Gu waved his hand. The imperial bodyguards stepped forward. They did not open the boxes that were brought here. Su Sheng speculated out loud, could it be that there are treasures in there that can detect and destroy a 9-leaf cultivator? A shocked expression appeared on his face as he continued to say, if that's the case, why didn't you do something back then, Your Majesty? Why did old villain Ji agree to the 2-month timeline instead of 3 or 4 months? Su Sheng. Lu Ge suddenly stopped walking. Yes, Your Majesty. You talk too much. Lu Ji's voice was deep. Forgive me, Your Majesty. As he bowed, Su Sheng shuddered slightly. He no longer dared to speak. Meanwhile, Guiran followed behind them silently. A month passed by in just a blink of an eye. In the unnamed abyss in the moonlight woodlands, a white figure broke the lake's surface and flew into the air. When the figure was in the sky, a surge of energy dried up the moisture in her hair and on her body. Yi Tianxin hovered in the air as she looked at Cheng Huang that was lying in the distance. She called out with a smile on her face, Little Huang. Cheng Huang ignored her. You're mad. Come on, Little Huang. Protect me. Cheng Huang looked up. Its huge eyeballs rolled as it looked at Yi Tianxin in the air. As it turned and swept its tail out, it stirred up a gust of wind. Yi Tianxin had to rise higher in the sky. She said, You're really petty. Whiz. She summoned her avatar. She looked at the 7 shining leaves spinning around her golden lotus. In the past, she would never dare to dream of this. She had reached the 7-leaf stage in half a year and was now attempting the 8-leaf stage. She looked down at the mystical lake. Although she did not know why, she was certain there was something special about the lake's water. It contained some unique power that helped her cultivation base to improve by leaps and bounds. She had been cultivating in the lake all this while without taking a single step away from it. Cheng Huang had watched over her the entire time and did not leave her. As time went by, Yi Tianxin had grown accustomed to this place. She had also gotten familiar with Cheng Huang. Cheng Huang looked over when she summoned her avatar again. Yi Tianxin said with a smile, Don't blink. 8-leaf. Whiz. 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 Rings of energy descended from the top toward the golden lotus. This continued for 2 hours, but a new leaf did not appear. However, Yi Tianxin was extremely patient and tenacious as she kept at it. Perhaps it was due to her long stay in the abyss, she did not long for the outside world. Hence, she was not in a hurry to reach the 8-leaf stage. The energy rings continued to descend. It was precisely because of her calm disposition that the leaf sprouting process was smooth. The 8-leaf stage was the highest point attainable in the human cultivation world. After 4 hours had passed, she heard a crisp sound. The 8th leaf had finally sprouted on her golden lotus. Her avatar increased in size immediately and became 100 foot tall. Her 8-leaf golden lotus shone with a golden light. Yi Tianxin widened her eyes as she leaped with joy and exclaimed, Little Huang, I'm an 8-leaf cultivator now. Cheng Huang howled, as though it was congratulating her on her achievement. Yi Tianxin looked at the 8 leaves on her golden lotus. Everything seemed like a dream to her. She blinked her big eyes as she looked at the 8 leaves. At the same time, thoughts of returning to the outside world appeared in her mind. It was inevitable that she would think about returning to Great Yan now that she had sufficient strength. Yi Tianxin flew into her avatar before she rose higher in the sky. In just a blink of an eye, she was 100 meters up in the air. She looked around herself and could not see the end. When she sensed her newly gained power, she could hardly suppress her joy. She cupped her hands around her mouth and shouted. The sound wave rolled out and caused vicious beasts to take to the air. Except for a few specific beasts, the 8-leaf Yi Tianxin no longer feared the vicious beasts. Indeed, her 100-foot avatar deterred many beasts from attacking her. Yi Tianxin flew in the direction of the cliff wall. She looked up at the space above the abyss. At this moment, Zhenghai got up and ran over. When it reached her side, it sat down obediently. Although it was sitting, it was still as tall she was. Yi Tianxin said, "Little Huang, I'm going to leave the abyss now." Zhenghai glanced at the lake. It neither nodded nor shook its head. She wondered what it was thinking about. Yi Tianxin speculated out loud, "You want me to attempt the 9-leaf stage?" Zhenghai did not move. "Are you crazy? It's not that easy to reach the 9-leaf stage. I'm happy with being an 8-leaf cultivator." Zhenghai growled. Unfortunately, Yi Tianxin could not understand what it was trying to convey. "Let's go." Up we go. Yi Tianxin flew onto Zhenghai's broad back. Zhenghai pushed with its 4 paws. Like a fired arrow, it shot through the sea of clouds and missed.